Yeah, so imagine like this. We are in the center. On our right side is Krishna. Waiting, come, turn to me. I'm there for you. Krishna is ready to embrace us. Krishna is ready to fill our hearts with unlimited spiritual oneness, happiness. So our neck has to be turned to the right. But where is our neck right now? On the left side. And who's on the left side? A giant 20-foot tall demon with horns coming out, with big fangs, and who's constantly shouting, ranting, bah, bah, do this, do that, he's like this, he's bad, he's good, he's constantly. And what are we doing? We are mind worshippers. We are turned to the left side. We are turned to the left side and we are saluting this Mr. Mind. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are just obeying all his commands. And the worst part is he cannot even touch you. He is not you. Whereas Krishna is you. In the sense you are one with the Lord. Qualitatively, we are same. So, embrace of Krishna is real. Whereas the mind, whom we have made partnership with, whom we are married, so to say, we can't even touch. But he's ordering us, and we are slaves. We are simply following the order of the mind. So Bhakti Yoga process is simply the process of turning our neck, which is tilted to the left, turn it to the right. Krishna and yours. So this verse is very powerful. This verse is appealing to us. Turn to Krishna. But we are like that bird who is hoping, yes, let me get that fruit. Let me enjoy that fruit. No, that fruit is better. No, all the fruits I've tasted before have been bitter, but this one is better. Let me try this. Hope, there is a saying, German saying, I forget the actual German. It translates into English as the hope dies last. Hope never dies. Maybe I'll squeeze better next time, material happiness, I'll get some. I know some of us realize, some of us realize that there is only suffering in the world. We are like that bird who realizes that I've suffered enough. Let me go to that bird. He is my friend. Some of us get a glimpse. Yes, there is Krishna. I have to turn to Krishna. Yes. And we are ready to turn to Krishna. And as we are going towards that Krishna bird, suddenly we see another fruit hanging. And we think, this one is appearing very attractive. Maybe I'll try this one, last one, and then Krishna is anyway waiting for me. Krishna is not going anywhere. Let me try once. My Guru Maharaj says, Maya Devi traps both devotees and non-devotees. Non-devotees, she convinces them not to surrender to Krishna. And devotees, she convinces them to postpone their surrender. So we are postponing. No, that one bird, let me try. Because Krishna is there. But that one fruit, let me try. That fruit also disappoints. And we keep avoiding. And that is a story Prabhupada spoke about Kailash. In that Kailash story, who was a young boy, Narad Muni told him, become a devotee. He said, no, I'm very busy now, I'm playing. Then Narad Muni came after some years, the boy said, now I have school, I have exams, come later, I can't practice bhakti now. When he came later, he said, now I'm in love, I'm getting married, I need a job. And then he came later, he said, no, my children are growing up, I have to manage their education, no time for bhakti. Like that, he goes on, finally he becomes a dog in the next life, then he becomes a snake in the subsequent life, and then Narad Muni comes and tells all his family members, because he's protecting the family property, the backyard of the house, as a snake, and the family members come and try to beat the snake, and the snake runs and takes shelter of Narad Muni. So we are like Kailash, we keep postponing. What is Shankaracharya's famous verse? Balastavat krida sakta, tarunastavat taruni sakta, vruddhastavat chinta sakta, pare brahma kopina sakta. Childhood has gone in playing, krida sakta, playing sports. Tarunas, Shankaracharya composed this. Tarunastavat, youthful age, what we do? Taruni sakta, attachment to opposite sex. Vruddhastavat, in old age, chinta sakta, worry. Pare Brahma, Kopina Satta, when will you take shelter of God? When will you turn to that bird, Krishna bird? If Shankaracharya was alive today, he would have changed the verse. Because nowadays, we got an invitation to do stress management, stress management seminars for seventh grade children. So Shankaracharya was there today. He would have maybe composed it something like this: Balastavat Chinta Sakta. And Vruddhastavat Krida Sakta. Old people. I saw two very old men at Heathrow Airport. They were playing football on that video screen. They were intensely engaged. So it stops it early. But we are not turning to Krishna. And it's very, the illusory potency, the hope of that fruit is very powerful. And I experienced it personally many, many years ago. One elderly gentleman, he came to our temple and he broke down before me and he said, my daughter-in-law and my son, they are torturing me. And I'm fed up of life and I realized the futility of material life. I'm suffering so much. And I've got lots of money. So can I get a small room here near the temple somewhere? Can you help me get? So we arranged, we talked to some real estate fellow. He got a small room. And he wanted basically to be in the temple from morning to night and go to the room in the night to take rest and do some small seva in temple and take prasadam 3 times a day. And he also was willing to give donations. So management-wise, there was no problem. And also spiritually, it was good for him. So I kind of facilitated and we all were happy that he's going to come. And finally, it was decided he's going to come after 3-4 days. Everything was settled. But he didn't turn up. And weeks passed, and during those days, we didn't have mobile phones to follow up, ask. And also, it's not good. We didn't want to be intimidating and asking him to come and join and things like that. So we waited. And actually, a year later, I met him in some common friends program somewhere. And I was hesitant how to broach the subject. Finally, asked him, is everything all right? And then again, he started the same thing. He said, I'm miserable. My daughter-in-law is torturing me. I said, sir, but you told me all of this. Remember 1 year ago, I thought condition had improved. That's why you're not come to the temple. I thought the folks at home are better to you. They're giving you love now. He said, no, it's worse. But you said you will join. Then why did you come? He said, you know what happened? Just when I was about to leave the house to join, I saw my grandson and my granddaughter. I looked at them and my heart just dropped. That affection, that smile of the grandchild, I just couldn't leave. But my life is a hell. This is not easy, We don't want to give a social life even after 85, 90 because we are hoping that fruit is there. We are not realizing that the holy name Krishna is for real. So therefore, this is one end of the spectrum where we are completely embraced the mind. We are in love with the mind and we are ignoring Krishna. Krishna is beckoning us, come, turn. So, and on the other end of the spectrum, we are pure devotees. 11th canto describes beautifully. We have pure devotees who are constantly absorbed in Krishna. Sarvabhuteshu yaha pashyet bhagavad bhavam atmana bhutani bhagavad atmani esha bhagavatottama. So now they are on the other end of the spectrum. Look at their life. Look at somebody like Srila Prabhupada's consciousness. What are they? What consciousness they are in? This is amazing. Sarva bhuteshu yaha pashyet. When they look at all living entities, Bhagavat Bhavam Atmana, they are able to see love of Krishna in every person's heart. This person loves Krishna, this person loves Krishna. Bhagavat Bhavam Atmana. And not only that, Bhutani Bhagavad Atmani, and they're also able to see each living entity as not different from the Lord, qualitatively. Esha Bhagavatottama, such a person is the purest of pure devotees because he's embraced Krishna. He's only seeing from Krishna's vision. He's not judging people. See, when we interact, who is talking? It's not Krishna who is speaking. The mind, remember, the 10, 15 foot tall giant, he's the one who's ranting. So even when we are interacting with people, we are judging them constantly, seeing them from the spectrum of our mind, intelligence, and ego. Whereas a pure devotee with Krishna is only seeing people the way Krishna would see. Pure vision. This is a vision of a pure devotee. When I was hearing Srila Prabhupada's class, you can get a glimpse. You can actually see, you can get it clearly when you hear Prabhupada's classes. Like this is a very famous classes of Prabhupada in 1972. Vrindavan, Nectar of Devotion classes. Have you heard them? They are like amazing. Prabhupada says Vrindavan is my home, Mayapur is my place of bhajan, and Mumbai is my office. You can get that feeling when you're hearing those classes it's given at Rupa Goswami Samadhi. Radha Damodar Temple, 1972, Vrindavan, and in the background you can hear peacocks chirping. You can feel you're in Vrindavan with Prabhupada in 1972 October 19 onwards, series of classes. And then you can hear some faint voices in the background saying, Nita Gaur Premanande, people are doing parikrama. They are chanting. And in that class, one of the classes, Prabhupada is saying, he begins the class by saying, our Rishi Kumar Goswami, he is preaching so much. Now, Srila Prabhupada is at Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, and he's calling his disciple, Rishi Kumar, who has just taken sannyas, as Rishi Kumar Goswami. And the whole class is on how Rishi Kumar Goswami is representing the mood of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is carrying the mood energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the whole parampara. And Rishi Kumar is just 20 years old. He's just 20. So Prabhupada is saying he went to South Africa with the Haridas Brahmachari, and then Satsarup Maharaj and Hridayanand Maharaj is glorifying his disciples with so much joy, love. Esha Bhagavatotama Sarva Bhutani Pashe Bhagavat Bhavam Atmana. Bhutani Bhagavat Atmana. He's able to see them. He's able to see everyone. He's not discriminating. He's able to see because he is with Krishna. He's able to see from Krishna's vision. And that is why Srila Prabhupada found everything, every place is home. Because he's with Krishna. Hari Vilas Maharaj was saying in Seattle once that when he was a young devotee in Paris on a morning walk, imagine, this is Paris, morning walk, Srila Prabhupada, and the cars are buzzing, running around, people are going to offices. And Srila Prabhupada suddenly stops his morning walk. He inhales a breath of fresh air and he says, this is Vrindavan. Because Prabhupada is in Vrindavan consciousness. And Haridas Maharaj was saying, oh, and sometimes we are in Vrindavan and we are thinking of Paris. There is somebody who is in Paris. There is letter of Prabhupada to his friend. This is New York, 1966. He's just, I think, around Bowery area, leaving Bowery, coming to 26nd Avenue. The transition is happening. And Prabhupada is talking about snipers around who are shooting randomly at anyone. And Prabhupada goes to the market, buys vegetables. And he says, there is danger everywhere, but I don't feel any danger because for me, every place is a home. This is actually a documented letter of Srila Prabhupada. He is finding it a home because actually, if you see, technically it doesn't make sense. He is a Baba, is a Vrindavan Vasi, living in another Damodar temple for so many years, an elderly 70-year-old Swami coming to New York, 1960s New York, and he finds it home, although there is danger, because he is getting Krishna's embrace. So mind management is all about turning our neck away from worshipping the mind, who is offering us different fruits. We want to turn to Krishna. And this is our goal, this is our desire. And therefore we'll see pure devotees, they're able to see Krishna everywhere. Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Sarvam Cha Mam Pashyati 6.30 Bhagavad Gita. And also they're able to worship and serve devotees. Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So they are Tadiyanam Samarchanam. They are able to worship the devotees of Krishna also. And also Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanina Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilochanina. They have love anointed eyes. Therefore, we need to meditate on this principle that I do not, we have to ask a simple question. Who do I belong to? That's it. Simple question you need to answer every day. Who do I belong to? I belong to Maya or I belong to Krishna? The moment you answer this question, let's say, what will be the answer? I belong to Krishna. That's the first way of turning our neck away. I belong to Krishna. I am Krishna's. This is a question Sanatana Goswami asked. If you see Madhya Lila, this is one of the most important teachings, Sanatana Shiksha. 20th chapter, verse number 108 and 109 is like the foundation for ISKCON devotees. Because that answers the question, who am I? Sanatana Goswami is asking, who am I? Why am I suffering? Why are we all suffering in this world? Who do we belong to? What is our identity? And Mahaprabhu beautifully explains Jivera Swa. Can you repeat this verse? I'll see if I may not recall also. If I forget, probably you will help me remember. Okay. Jivera Swarupa Hoye. Jivera Swarupa Hoye. Krishnera Nityada. Krishnera Tatastha Shakti. Veda Veda Prakash. Suryamscha Kirana Oiche. Agni Jwala Chai. Okay. Suryamsha Kirana Oiche. Agni Jwala Chai. Wait. The next line. The last line says, Krishnera Teen Prakara Hoy. These are three energies of Krishna. So how does it begin? Jivera Swarupa. See, first of all, you have to understand what is our identity. Who am I? According to Vedic scriptures, universally, we are pure. Aham Brahmasmi. You got the last line? Swabhavika Krishnera Teen Prakara. Swabhavika. Last line. We'll chant the last verse again. Suryamsha Kirana Oiche. Suryamsha Kirana Oiche. Agni Jwala Chai. Agni Jwala Chai. Swabhavika Krishnera Tina. Swabhavika Krishnera Tina. Prakara Shakti Hai. Prakara Shakti Hai. So naturally, basically this verse explains. See, first of all, you have to understand our identities, we are pure spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. This is everywhere in the Vedas it is explained. We are pure. That is our identity. What is our position in that identity as a pure spirit soul? What is our position? Jivera Swarupe Hoye. Krishnera Nityada. Krishnera Tatastha Shakti. We are in the middle. Like a bank of a river is sometimes wet, sometimes dry. So we are conditioned, we may slip to material consciousness. Although we are spiritual in nature. So then Mahaprabhu is giving an example. Suryamsha Kirana Oiche. The sun is fiery. And the sun ray is also not different from the sun, but it is quantitatively small. Qualitatively same as sun. Agni Jwala Chai, big ball of fire. The spark from that fire is also fire, but quantitatively small. So we are belonging to Krishna. Now, the one other thing we need to do to manage our mind is to understand I am first of all pure spirit soul. This mind is not me. Right now, our identity is merged with the mind. We don't separate ourselves from the mind. It's like whatever the mind is saying, that's me. But when I understand I am of this nature, I am of Krishna's nature, then I can separate myself from my mind. This is very important. If you don't understand qualitatively that I am, see, Mahaprabhu said qualitatively we are same as Krishna. Quantitatively we are different. Sometimes we focus on the difference so much. We are different. The servant is good, but we are different from God. We are so scared to think of the oneness. Mahaprabhu gave Achintya, Veda, Abheda. We are not different from the Lord. We don't talk about the non-difference. We are so scared. No. We are different from the Lord. So the difference makes us eventually lead to duality. We keep talking. That's why even as devotees, we are fighting. We go on the internet, constant blasphemy. Why? Because we are living in fear, insecurity, which is a symptom of living in duality. One who lives in oneness would be able to give love. He would feel Krishna's love. So therefore, this is very, very unfortunate. But then we have hope. We have to first connect to this principle that I am qualitatively same as Krishna. I come from a tradition in South India, from Udupi. So when I grew up, I spent my first 10 years in this temple town. My grandfather was a priest in the temple. And we were from that tradition where, Madhvacharya, you see Madhvacharya's painting, drawing, he's sitting like this. Madhvacharya gave the philosophy that living entity and God are different. Shankaracharya said, we are all one with God. Madhvacharya said, no, we are different from God. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu harmonized it so beautifully. That we are one with God in quality, but we are different because we are servants. Now, before coming to ISKCON, I had no idea. See, this the way Prabhupada explained it so simply, so logically. Nobody has given this like this before. And when I was, remember, only after coming to ISKCON, I understood all the depth of this philosophy. Before that, what I was thinking as a young boy, as running around in temple town and running at home in temple, and as children, we're always fond of eating. Annamaya Kosha is developing, always eating laddu, sweets, fruit. So my grandmother would always take me to the altar in our home. I grew up with my grandparents. My grandmother would always see, look at our Guru, Madhvacharya's photo would be there in the altar. Madhvacharya would be sitting like this. And my grandmother would say, see, Madhvacharya is saying we should eat only 2 times in a day. For many years, I thought Madhvacharya's philosophy is we should eat only 2 times. And Prabhupada explained so beautifully how, this means what Madhvacharya is teaching is we are servants of God. And also Srila Prabhupada gave this amazing explanation about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. That Prabhupada's 2 examples, he gave one of the mountain, that you see the mountain from far, you see it as some hazy landscape. So that is the Brahman realization, very vague. And then there is Paramatma realization, you go closer to the mountain and you see, oh, there are trees, there are bushes. And then Bhagavan realization is actually entering the mountain. Similarly, another example is the train. In a village where nobody saw a train, and the train came in, and one person saw the train and said, oh, I've seen the smoke, I've heard the sounds, I've seen the train. That's like Brahman realization. You see the impersonal aspect of God everywhere. But Paramatma realization is like the person who waits for the train to come to the village. He sees, oh, there is a train. It has doors, it has windows. So he gets more understanding. And the third person is like Bhagwan realization. He waits for the train to come and he enters the train and he sees, oh, there is bathroom, there is fan, there is. He sees more. He gets complete understanding of the train. Srila Prabhupada also gave the example of the sun, experiencing sunshine or God's shine as Brahman. Then seeing the sun through the telescope and then actually visiting the sun planet and shaking hands with Mr. President of the sun planet, Vivaswan. So what is happening to many of us, because we have turned our neck towards this bird, this mind, and we are enjoying the fruits of this material world, we are enjoying the fruits of this world, we are living in so much fear and duality that even as devotees, even though we theoretically say that our understanding is the highest, Bhagwan realization, but we ignore the understanding of how God is available everywhere. We are unable to appreciate godliness in everything in nature. It's like, have you tasted gulab jamun? All of you, ISKCON bullets, right? So, our Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, Brahman realization is like someone who has never tasted gulab jamun and his friend tells him, come to my house, I will feed you gulab jamun. And he enters the house and he smells the fragrance of gulab jamun being prepared. Oh, he thinks I've experienced gulab jamun. Has he experienced gulab jamun? He has, but very limited. That is like Brahman realization, seeing God in nature. It's not complete. So we say that it's not complete. Another friend came home. He also smelled the fragrance of gulab jamun, but he went to the kitchen and he touched the gulab jamun. Oh, it's soft. It's hot. Gulab jamun has to be served hot. It becomes even tasty. He smelled it. And he had a more complete understanding of the gulab jamun. That's like Paramatma realization. But did he have complete understanding of gulab jamun? No. And who has the complete understanding? Jesus. One who tastes it. One who tastes it, he experiences what the first 2 people also experienced, the fragrance as well as touching. But we are, unfortunately, many of us devotees, see, if we actually turn to Krishna, if we are embraced by Krishna bird, then we will be able to appreciate Brahman and Paramatma also. Many of us, we condemn Brahman and Paramatma realization. We don't want to talk about it as if it's. No, but if we actually want to be free from the clutches of mind, we need to appreciate Brahman, Paramatma. It's like the person, we are like the fanatic Gulab Jamun addict who says that Gulab Jamun is experienced only in the taste. So what he does, when he sees Gulab Jamun is being cooked, he first of all blocks his nose. He doesn't even want to touch it. He just wants to taste it. Come on, if you really love Gulab Jamun, you will experience, you'll be present when you honor it. Similarly, we don't want to deny Krishna in nature. We don't want to deny Krishna in all aspects of our lives. I learned from one of my godbrothers, amazing, one of the types of journaling which I really love. How did Krishna show up today? Initially when I started writing that journal entry in the night, I would get nothing to write. How did Krishna show up today? I mean, I could understand how Krishna showed up. But slowly over practice, it's amazing experience. Small ways how Krishna shows up through some words that suddenly inspires you, or something a friend tells you, or some what we call as coincidences. Coincidences is simply God remaining anonymous. It's not a coincidence at all, actually. Like yesterday, I'll just give a simple example. I write articles and I send it to some of my close friends before putting it on my website. So one friend I sent it, I didn't know. I mean, yesterday, and that article was called From Bollywood to Bhagavad Gita. The whole thing I compared how our mind, mind is like, there's a browser. Just like if you only visit Bollywood.com and now you want to study Bhagavad Gita and you write BhagavadGita.com, but as soon as you type B, Bollywood will appear on the search. Yeah. Because of the past patterns. So I use that to explain how the mind has past patterns. So I give the example from the website, from the internet, like that, whole article. And this particular devotee, I didn't know it will help him so much. He wrote a long letter to me saying, thank you, this is what I needed. And today is coincidentally the anniversary of, it's called World Web Day. This is the day when www. The web thing was manifested on this day. I said, really? So in one sense, it's a coincidence. But in another way, you can see how did Krishna show up today? Krishna had the Paramatma in his heart to inspire him, orchestrated events in such a way that Krishna wanted him to turn his neck, which is turned towards Maya, towards Krishna. So Krishna is there in the heart, he's directing. So Krishna shows up in so many ways every day. So we need to appreciate the Brahman Paramatma aspect also. And if we don't integrate, then our minds will drag. And we will constantly live in fear and insecurity. This is very, very important. Navayogendras, when they instruct Maharaj Nimi, Bhayam Dvitiya Vinivesha Tasyat Ishadapetasya Viparyayo Smriti Tanmayata Buddha Apajetam Bhakte Ka Esham Guru Devatatma. Bhayam Dvitiya, when we live in duality, friend, enemy, happiness, cold, rich, poor, day, night, always living in duality. One moment we are happy, the next we are not. Insecurity. It happens because Ishad Apetasya Viparyayo Mukha. We are turned away. Viparyayo Smriti. We are turned away. Viparyayo. We are turned away from Krishna and turned towards the mind. Tanmayata Buddha Apajetam. Now fix your mind intelligence on Krishna. How? The words of your Guru. Follow the words of the Guru, Parampara, instructions. Sometimes we think, no, I'm quite smart. I can manage. My intelligence is quite strong. I don't need spiritual life. I don't need to follow Guru, Parampara, Krishna. No, I'm not controlled by the mind. I know everything. Bhagavatam dismisses this. Bhagavatam says, we generally think intelligence is superior to the mind. Bhagavatam says, no. Wherever you hear intelligence is stronger than mind, please know that refers to spiritual intelligence. Because in material world, intelligence, which is supposed to ideally know better than the mind, unfortunately, intelligence is a slave of the mind. Avidyamanopi avabhati hidvayo Vyaturdiya swapna manorato yakha Tatkarma sankalpa vikalpakam mano Buddho nirudhyat abhayam tatasyat. Very important verse. This says, look at our plight. What is unreal means what is temporary. Avidyamanopi avabhati. We have accepted that as real. Because we are trapped by duality. Which means we are embraced mind. Because mind's nature is what? Accept, reject. And we have embraced Mr. Mind, so we are living in that consciousness, accepting, rejecting. And you may say, no, but my intelligence is strong. So the next line says, Vyaturdhya swapna manorato yatha. It is simply riding the chariot of the mind. What is the proof? Tat karma sankalpa vikalpa kammano. Sankalpa vikalpa. Accept, reject. That's how we live our life. Therefore, Buddho Niruddha, stop all of this by connecting to Krishna. Turn to Krishna, embrace Krishna. Take one step towards Krishna. You know what? Intelligence, how it is working for us. We think intelligence is strong. Okay. When we are overcome by desire, what should the intelligence do ideally? Stop it. It's not good for you. Right? But you know what happens with many of us? Intelligence becomes a lawyer for the mind. Yes, you are right. Whatever the mind likes, intelligence defends it. Mm-hmm. Something bad which is betraying our values, the mind wants it. The intelligence should prevent us from doing that. But intelligence says, no, you can enjoy it. And then tomorrow come to temple wearing tilak, nobody will know. People will think you're still an advanced devotee. This is how, see, it's like this. False ego has two bodyguards, mind and intelligence. This is how the drama, see, there's a mafia. it's an intense, it's an underworld, nexus. Just like this Harry Potter, there are two worlds. Muzzles and you're all sadhus. Wizards and so the wizard world, that world of wizards, so they have their own laws, own Olympics, own police. And the world of the karmis, they have a different law. Similarly, in this world, we have certain etiquette, protocol, we live, but the inner world has its own operation system. You know what the word is? That is ego, false ego. It says, I am the enjoyer. That's a diktat issued by the false ego. And the first bodyguard of the false ego is the mind, which says, yes, sir, you are the enjoyer. And what does the mind do? First, mind job is sankalpa, vikalpa. Accept, reject. So, for example, when I came, who was doing kirtan? Somebody was doing very beautiful kirtan. Yes. What is your name? Arushi was doing very good kirtan. So I come and say, Arushi, excellent kirtan. Amazing kirtan. Now, Arushi, I'm taking liberty in saying what will happen inside. Please forgive me. I should have reversed it. I should have said, okay, no, let's say like this. Let's make it ulta. Arushi says, she comes to me after the class and says, Prabhuji, you gave a very good class. That's ulta correct. So Arushi says, Prabhuji, thank you, very good class. So now, what does the false ego say? I am the enjoyer. I'm the best. So that's a diktat issued by the false ego. What is the mind's job? Accept or reject. So now when I hear this, I gave a good class. Who said it? Arushi. So what will the mind say? Accept. So mind will accept her. When the mind accepts Arushi, what is the intelligence job?
Yes, boss.
Intelligence will start supplying arguments to explain why I should accept Arushi. Intelligence says, she's a nice girl, she's put on tilak, she's a Vaishnavi, she's a Radhakund tilak, and she's a child of devotee. So she's a pure devotee, and she is attached to Krishna. She's from very good family. She's such devotional mood and very good devotee like that. The intelligence will supply arguments. How she's growing up in a devotee community. She's been protected so nicely. 25 arguments the intelligence will give because why? Because the mind did what?
Accept.
So mind accepts, intelligence supplies arguments. And then after some time, I'm going out. Next day I come for another class, Saturday. Again I give class. And Arushi tells me, Prabhuji, you don't finish on time, you give such long classes. And let's say she says that, for example. Prabhuji, it went on very long. Or I hear from someone else that, Arushi said that she found the class very repetitive, boring. She may not have said that, but I hear that she said that. Then what is the false ego? False ego's diktat is what? I'm the best, I'm the enjoyer. And false ego has been disturbed. And who is the bodyguard of the false ego? First bodyguard? Mind. What will the mind do now? Accept or reject?
Reject.
And when the mind rejects, what will the intelligence say? Oh, she's Gen Alpha. She's millennials. Millennials are fucked up, arrogant children. They need training. I think she needs discipline. Chanakya Pandit says after first 5 years you should discipline the child. Other parents, I should give feedback to intelligence will give 100 arguments on how she same person. Have you seen this happen sometimes? The same person, you will have different thoughts. That's how the nexus is. It's deadly. And all this is happening because we have embraced the giant demon. We are living, we are married a demon. And unfortunately, see if your spouse, God forbid, abuses you, you can call 911, right? There is help. But which police station will register your complaint when you say, my mind is abusing me? I've given a name to my mind. In my journals, I don't call my mind as mind, I call it as Chanchal. Chanchal is a very sweet sounding feminine name. And since brahmacharis don't have companions, so we have acknowledged we have a companion. And you can't divorce. And you can't divorce this companion. So, Chanchal. So I write, this helps a lot. You can try this, it's very helpful. You don't have to write journals. You don't have to write journals. You can always practice awareness. Awareness means just observe what Chanchal is saying without judging, like a video camera. Right now the video camera is observing. Video camera is not judging me. You may be judging. Video camera will just observe. Can you switch on the video camera inside for some time in a day, 5 minutes? Or you simply observe what the mind is saying. So what I do when I wake up in the morning, I take out my journal. See, I'm again saying you don't have to do this. I'm just saying what I do and how it helps me to practice awareness and separate myself from Chanchal. And it helps me to a certain extent turn my neck towards Krishna. So what I do, I write. Chanchal is now telling me, drink hot water. Now Chanchal says, check WhatsApp. Now Chanchal says, go to the washroom. Whatever the mind is saying, I write it down. For 5 minutes only. And in those 5 minutes, at the end of 5 minutes, you know what happens? You realize, wow, he speaks so much. So much. And sometimes, suddenly, when you're writing one sentence, what the mind has said, as you're completing the sentence, you would realize that the mind has spoken 25 other things. In fact, you would forget what you were writing because mind has jumped to so many topics. And sometimes this also happens that as you're writing what the mind is saying, suddenly the mind will go blank. Like a tantrum throwing spouse who has been apprehended and nothing to say. So you're like, what do you have to say, Chandra? Come on. Mind has nothing to say. Mind is blank. And when the mind is blank, you know what I do? I know this is my chance. Grab it. Now the mind is quiet. That means now you can speak in your voice. Till now it was the mind's voice. And that's the time. Turn your neck to Krishna and say, Krishna, I love you. And see the difference it makes. You can try one experiment. Just begin your day with a prayer. Just write one prayer to Krishna. As soon as you get up. Krishna, I love you. I want to serve you. Please accept me. Whatever you want to write. And at some point of time, when you're writing that prayer, you may feel, this prayer is dry. This prayer doesn't carry my voice. You may feel, I'm not able to pray with intention. So then what I do when that happens, I stop that prayer. I end the first paragraph. That's the first paragraph, I stop it. Then I start a second paragraph. Now what is the second paragraph? Just write what the mind is saying. And write it as long as the mind is ranting. And as soon as the mind stops, and you're blank, I stop the second paragraph and I start a third paragraph. And you know what is the third paragraph? It is simply repeating as it is the first paragraph. And it's amazing. For a third person, when he sees that page, he may think you have just repeated the first paragraph. But because you have written it, it's different. Because the third paragraph is the soul talking to Krishna. The first paragraph is
the mind.
The mind is chanting, so you're not able to pray because the mind is shouting. Sometimes in Kirtan, Guru Puja, have you seen in temple? I've seen that. The Kirtan is so loud and somebody wants to tell you something, you can't hear, so you have to go outside the hall. Right? So similarly, when you are praying to Krishna, the mind is so loud, I cannot hear. I want to pray, but I'm not able to hear. So what do? I go outside the hall. For me, the hall outside is a journal. I write a prayer, Krishna. Then I'm not able to pray, then I simply practice awareness journal. And that way the mind becomes peaceful. And then you realize all the happiness, distress of this world is simply the drama of the mind. That's what Bhagavatam says. Mana eva. What is that Avanti Brahman's verse? Which he says, not the planetary system. Nobody is to blame for me. Nayam janoye sukha dukkha heto na devatatma griha karma kala. Mana param karanamamananti. Mind is the main cause. Then you realize what drama mind is doing. In our Vedic tradition, there is a famous story of how the mind can create such a mess. Famous story of King Bhartrahari. Have you heard of Bhartrahari? He was a very famous king. He was so much madly in love with his wife that he composed 100 stanza poem on her beauty. And he called it Shringara Shatak. Means glorifying the beauty of my wife. And later on, you know what happened to him? A big tragedy happened. One sadhu came to his kingdom and he said, this is a very special apple. It was size of 10 apples, big apple. He said, this is a very special apple. You have to give it to the person you love the most, and that person has to eat it in alone when they are alone. So their life will be very blissful. So whomever you love the most, you give it. So because he had already composed Shringar Shatak, he loved his wife so much, so he gave it to her. And after a few days, and he told her, I love you, take this apple. So she took it. And after a few days, when he's in the palace, in the royal court, one lady comes to the royal court. She says, my dear king, I want to give you a gift. And she gives him the same apple. He says, what? How did you get this? No, I love you, please accept it. He immediately texts that sadhu, Guru, how many apples you had? Who have you distributed the apples to? He says, no, I had only one apple and I gave it to you. How come this lady is giving me? He confronts her. Where did you get this apple? Tell me the truth. I'm the king. You can't lie to me. And she says, there is this cowherd man in our village. He's married, but I'm his paramour. He loves me. And he came and gave me. But I love you. So I gave you. She says, really? So he goes to the village. He confronts that cowherd man. He says, you rascal, tell me, how did you get this apple? From where did you get it? And he initially is reluctant, but he can't say no to the king. Finally, he reveals how the wife of the commander-in-chief of the army, the king's army, she gave him because she was madly in love with him. But he loved this lady. So he confronts that lady and she says, who gave her? The commander-in-chief. Because he was her husband. Then he confronts his commander-in-chief. How did you get it? He says, your queen gave it to me. That's how. And then he realizes what has happened. And then he had composed what earlier? Shringar Shatak. And now what does the mind do? Mind rejects. And now he composes 100 verses called Vairagya Shatak. Ya chintayami satatam maisa virakta sapanyamichyati jana sajano virakta asmat krite cha paritushyati kachidanya diktam cha tam cha madanam cha imam cha mam cha. He says, I was meditating on my lover, but she was detached from me. Sapanyam ichyati jana sajano virakta. And she was attached to someone else who was detached from her. Asmat krite cha paridushyati kachidanya. We can never get satisfaction as long as we are living in the world of the mind. So to hell with whom? Diktam cha tam cha madanam cha. To hell with my queen, to hell with that commander-in-chief, to hell with Madan Cupid, to hell with Mr. Cupid. Diktam cha tam cha madanam cha imam cha mam cha. To hell with me also. So he is frustrated in life. So therefore Bhagavatam says, turn to Krishna. Improve your awareness. Don't be captured by this mind. So therefore, and we have for this now. One inspiration is to practice awareness. But as sadhakas, our inspiration is we want to also meditate on the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. We want to see the pure devotees, how they see oneness. So then we get inspiration to be with Krishna and feel Krishna's embrace. And on the one end of the spectrum, it's you and me, embraced by mind. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came as devotee, he was completely one with Krishna. So he always saw from Krishna's vision, so much so that there was no duality for him. One of the most poignant chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Antya Leela, 4th chapter. You know this? This is like most heart-wrenching pastime of Sanatan Goswami. He comes to Jagannath Puri, he drinks contaminated water, he has boils all over his body, and those boils are foul smelling, itchy, pus, big boils all over the body, and they're oozing pus, and it's very, very bad. And Sanatan Goswami is very, very embarrassed to come in front. He doesn't want to come in front of the Lord. He offers Dandavat from far, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to embrace him. So now look at this. This is an amazing scene. You visualize this. Lord Chaitanya is not feeling disgusted. For him, there is no duality. More na chuiya Prabhu. More na chuiya Prabhu. Pado tumar pai. I'm falling at your feet, my dear Lord. Don't touch me. He's begging the Lord. More na chuiya Prabhu. Pado tumar pai. Ek nicha jati adama. Kandura sagai. I am fallen soul, and on top of it, I have all this dirty, obnoxious boils. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. And what does Mahaprabhu do? Balatkare Prabhu Tandre Alingana Koila Kandukleda Mahaprabhu Shriyangete Lagila. Mahaprabhu forcefully embraces him, and everything comes on Mahaprabhu's body. It's amazing. Mahaprabhu doesn't feel even a tinge of disgust. So this happens repeatedly. And he wants to, finally, he plans to commit suicide. Because he finds it unbearable. How can Mahaprabhu touch my body like this? So then there's a whole pastime where Mahaprabhu chastises him for this thought. And then Mahaprabhu tells him, Prabhu kahe tomar deha mora nija dhan tumi more kariyachi atma samarpan. Your body is my property and you are surrendered to me. Haridas, look at him. He is destroying another man's property. See, we are devotees of Krishna. This body is Krishna's property. We need to take care of our existence so that we can serve Krishna better. And then later on, there's another pastime where Sanatan Goswami in the same chapter, he comes from a long distance to meet Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu is so touched by his humility. Mahaprabhu says, Yadyapi tumi hao jagat pavan tamas parshe pavitra hoye deva muni gan. Are the devtas, great demigods, they want to touch you and get purified. So Mahaprabhu is not seeing. So then there is a famous verse comes there. Wait, you can repeat this verse, please? And if I forget, one of you will have to help me. Vaite Badra Badra Gyan. Vaite Badra Badra Gyan. Sab Mano Dharma. Sab Mano Dharma. Yehi bhala, yehi manda. Yehi bhala, yehi manda. Yehi sab bhrama. Yehi sab bhrama. Vaita, this duality living. Because we are living embraced by the mind, we are living in this duality. It is all manodharma. It is a activity of the mind. Manortena satidhavato bahi. Yehi bhala, this is good, this is bad. Ye sab brahma, this is an illusion. Therefore, let us change that. Let us change our inner settings. Let us start turning towards Krishna. We are one with God, but we are different. And somebody is very depressed, I tell them, so what happens when you say but? All the things you said before is neutralized. Prabhu, you are very good, you sing well, you speak very good lectures, you are very beautiful, you are very good, but. So we say we are one with God, but different. So that one is neutralized. And the difference is created. And then we live in duality, we live in fear. So I tell people, we are one with God and we are different. Or if somebody is very depressed, I tell them, you are different from God, but you are one with God. The oneness has to be experienced because then only we'll feel Krishna's embrace. Otherwise you are living in duality, fear, and you consider Krishna also as separate from you. We are like that child, there's a bogeyman. who is constantly threatening the child, and we are scared. Even when we see what happens, we go to Krishna only when Maya Devi slaps us. And even when we are in embrace of Krishna, so the mind realizes, this Chanchal realizes, oh, this fellow is gone to Krishna. So what then she will do? What Maya Devi will do? She will start speaking kind words, sweet words to lure us back. And we are like, oh, we want to go back. When I was my youngest brother in school, I remember one day he came running home. His cheeks were red. One of his classmates had slapped him hard. So my father said, go and resolve this. So I went as a big brother. And he told me that his classmate had slapped him. I said, why did you beat my brother? He said, Bhaiya, but because I scolded him, I said, you are very good friends. No, why did you beat him? So you are very bad. I chastised him. So he said, no, but he didn't tell you how much I love him. I said, what do you mean? I gave him every day. I'm giving him ice cream, chocolates. Does he come and tell you? I said, no, he never told me that. Only when he got a slap, he complained. We are like that, spoiled child. When Maya Devi is giving us something, we are happy with her. When we get suffering and kicks, even when we cry for Krishna, we don't cry for Krishna. We cry because material energy is giving us suffering. That is our situation. So we are tempted constantly. So pure devotees, even when for them, it's only Krishna. They're not attracted or distracted by anything the material energy has to offer. So therefore, let us always ask this question: who do I belong to? I belong to Maya or I belong to Krishna? If I belong to this material world, then Krishna becomes my servant. Krishna, you are welcome. You are my guest. Help me live in this material world nicely. But if I say I belong to Krishna, then this world I am not attached to. This is not the world where I want to make a permanent place. And then our vision towards this world also changes. It becomes Krishna's vision. Hare Krishna. I want to pause here because this is such a vast subject and my could be way off track. I don't know what I'm saying. So let us have some discussions, corrections, questions, comments. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So wonderful examples and so practical. While you're speaking, we can actually see how our inner world functions. So, Prabhu, when you actually say turning towards the mind, turning our mind to Krishna, turning our mind to Krishna. Especially when Maya is really screaming at us. What does it mean? Like, how do you get the strength to actually turn our mind to Krishna?
Yeah. So let's say we're in the middle of, let's say we are provoked and we have chosen, and we're in the middle of temptation, distraction, provocation, and we give in to that and you betray your values. So one of the common questions devotees have is, how do I choose Krishna when I'm overwhelmed? Has anybody had this question?
Yes.
Something like this you're asking, right? So I got an answer from Srila Prabhupada on this, and which is very hope-giving answer. Because this is a common question many devotees have. How do I choose Krishna when I'm overwhelmed by Maya? This is the series of lectures Prabhupada gave in Bombay in 1974, especially December 5 and December 6. These two lectures are very powerful. So he gives explanations on how we can choose Krishna even though we are suffering so much. So he gives layers. And he doesn't use the exact, he doesn't give it as 1, 2, 3, but you can derive it like that from the lectures. So the first thing Prabhupada says we should all ideally be doing. Don't feel hopeless if you can't do it. But let's understand what is the ideal. Prabhupada says in this lecture, ideal situation he says is all devotees we should capture Krishna. And he gives the example of Mother Yashoda. He says we should capture Krishna. So after hearing this, as I was hearing the class, I said, oh, I can capture Krishna. I'm far away. Then Srila Prabhupada says, you can't do that, at least choose Krishna. So you may say, but that also I'm not able to, right? So the whole discussion is on how we should make a choice, how we should choose Krishna. And then I got a lot of hope. And Prabhupada says, what is the first?
Capture.
Can't capture Krishna, no problem. Second, choose Krishna. We choose Krishna, but we also choose Maya. So then Prabhupada is very hope giving. He says, at least come back to Krishna. Come back to Krishna. What happens when you keep coming back more and more and more? If you keep coming back to see, because Maya Devi, na, she doesn't tempt you 24 hours. She pulls you away. She also enjoys seeing you bleed from the choices you have made. She loves it. First, she drags you away to make a wrong choice. And then she enjoys seeing you lament, suffer because of that. And as she's enjoying, that's your moment to come back to Krishna. Krishna, I made a wrong choice, but I want you. I'm coming back to you now. Srila Prabhupada says, the more we come back again and again, then Krishna will give us the strength to choose him during provocation. And then somebody may say at this point of time, you may get a question, no, but I can't come back also. Mind is, sometimes they ask this question, how questions all the time. But how can I come back? I can't come back, mind is back. So Prabhupada dismisses, he scoffs at that question. He says, oh, you can always come back. You should always remember Krishna. It's not difficult. And he gives a very beautiful example. He gives the example of Indian women. He says, the women in India, they are very busy. All day they are busy. They are managing children, managing home, doing so much of things. But they see to it that their hair is in proper order. Then Srila Prabhupada says, so our Indian women, however busy they are, they take care of the bunch of hair on their head. Srila Prabhupada says, the bunch of hair. So then you understood what is it compared to? The bunch of hair is compared to what? Remembering Krishna. So you will be busy whole day, managing so many things. But just like these women are busy, but they ensure that the hair is in proper order. Similarly, we as devotees, we may be very busy, making mistakes, sleeping, struggling, but we have to ensure that somehow we remember Krishna. Take out time. Make your hair in proper order. Remember Krishna. Come back. So this has to be done, Prabhu. Ideally, and this is very, very important point. I realize that why we don't come back to Krishna, many of us, because we are afraid of being judged. In this world, you promise someone something and then you don't honor it. And then you feel afraid to come in front of that person because you'll be judged. Because we don't want to be somebody seen as somebody who's not honoring. So we think Krishna will also judge us. But when you come back sincerely to Krishna with a sincere repentance, you will see it's different. You will feel loved by Krishna. And you will say, oh, this is different than the material world. Because Krishna's love is unconditional. He just is waiting for us to turn back to him. Is that okay? Yes, good. So, I don't know. Somebody has to take a call and pass in the microphone.
So you were talking about intelligence and justifications. So this is something I think a lot about. So when the mind has made a decision and the intelligence is now activated, I have to back this decision. Maybe you're having an argument with someone and you feel entrenched in the decision, and intelligence is activating, you're giving your counter arguments and all this. But actually, deep down, you're wrong. Right? How do you catch the intelligence at that point? How do you catch all those justifications that you're making, going down that list, as you say, and take a breath and take a step back and say, because it's so easy to get defensive in this world, whether it's with our spouse, with our siblings, with our colleagues at work, where sometimes we're feeling attacked, or these kind of circumstances happen all the time. Sometimes small ways, big ways, but then the intelligence is activated, and deep down it's not acting in your best interest, ultimate best interest, but you feel entrenched. So how do you actually, because the mind is now away from Krishna, the intelligence is serving the mind. So who steps forward to uplift both?
Okay. Now this question. See, we are practicing Bhakti Yoga. So in the yoga path, there are yogis, they focus a lot on control of the mind. They focus on a lot of these things. But we as Bhakti yogis, devotees, we turn to Krishna for answers. See, what I see many of us do, the mistake is we outsource our introspection. We want answers from devotees. These are the questions you need to ask Krishna during japa. Krishna, please help. Bhakti Yoga is about making japa a dialogue with Krishna. We've turned it into a monologue. It's all about the mind going here and there. But japa is a time when you say, Krishna, I'm helpless. I'm dragged by my mind. I'm entangled. Krishna, help. This is a dialogue in japa. This is the way we ask questions to Krishna. We prefer asking questions to devotees, not Krishna. Because Krishna's answers may not be immediate. And Krishna's answers also may not be palatable. Krishna may slap you, but he'll also give you love. We prefer asking questions to devotees because devotees will give comforting answers. Devotees will say nice things. But we need to ask some questions only Krishna can answer. So we need to sincerely ask a few questions during japa, or we need to have a dialogue on some areas in japa, like while chanting, we could give a report to Krishna on how much I have come back to you in the last 24 hours. Till I last kept my beat back down, until this point of time, how many times did I come back to you, Krishna? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So you're chanting. And as you're chanting, in your thoughts, the choice of thoughts is yours. You can always say, Krishna, yesterday 3 times I did come back to you. I hope you are watching me, my sincerity. Last night I tried to offer a prayer. I sang a bhajan, but I felt so sleepy. I went off to sleep. But I'm sincere, Krishna. I'm coming back to you. So you're giving a report on you're coming back to Krishna. Then second, you could give a report on Krishna, my anartha of anger. I'm constantly shouting at my family members, please help me, Krishna. So this is again you're offering a thought. So like this, when we constantly come to Krishna, ask questions to Krishna. So don't outsource your entire introspection. Krishna will be found in seminar halls, satsang halls, but Krishna actually reciprocates with you in your prayer time, in your japa time, when you connect with Krishna. So this question about intelligent mind, see, I simplified the whole thing. I said on your left is this big demon. What I actually meant to us, it's not mind. It's mana, buddhi, ahankar, and chitta. All the 4 conglomerate, I call them as oversimplified mind, but all the 4 are different. They have different functions, so we can get into the details of that. But that's not the point. The point is we are not that. We need to turn to Krishna. So whatever sincerity we have, we need to, because japa, holy name, is the best vehicle for us to connect with Krishna. Because holy name is Krishna. So chanting and when we are chanting, we are vibrating the holy name. But we can always offer thoughts. Prabhupada has given us. Krishna, please engage me in your service. Radharani, please engage. That's one thought we are offering. We can also offer different thoughts of prayer. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for such a brilliant class. It was extremely practical, and I just wanted to make one reflection and then one question. So the reflection was, I think, the take home is to turn towards Krishna. And as you said, love Krishna, if not choose Krishna, if not come back to Krishna as much as we can. And at the same time, focus on the oneness so that we can connect everyone and everything to Krishna. I liked how you said the journaling activity or the prompt is how did Krishna appear today? And at the same time, to be detached from the mind and observe what the mind is speaking and blabbering. And then the first prayer and the first prayer repeated the third paragraph. I think that was a nice, wonderful take home for us. So thank you for this class with Srila Prabhupada's stories on how Srila Prabhupada, even Paris, he's in Vrindavan, he's always connected with Krishna, and the story of Bhakti, of the disgusting nature of this world and how we should turn towards Krishna. So thank you for that. My question is, and please feel free not to answer this if it is too personal. My question, because we are all infants, children who have just started the process of bhakti, and you've been practicing for over 3 decades now. So my question is, in your personal journey of how loudly the mind was speaking and how softly maybe it's whispering now over 30 years by the practice of bhakti, would you be able to share something so that we can see light on the other end of the tunnel? And we can have hope that today it may be loud, but if we follow this process, then very soon by Krishna's mercy, it will just whisper.
Okay. Thank you, Amarendra Prabhu. Before I answer your question, I'll tell you one of the entries in the last 1 month about how did Krishna show up today was when I was at a bus stop in Seattle with Amarendra Prabhu. And the bus number said, there was a bus number written there, that particular bus stops there, I think. It was 269. He said, immediately said, to Yugala Kishore, Radha Krishna, we can get their shelter only if 6 Goswamis bless us. And they've given us the Navavida Bhakti. 269. So he immediately saw Radha Krishna, 6 Goswamis, and 9 process of devotions. So I think 3 years back he taught me that game, Krishna game, So you keep an object and then get some Krishna conscious connection to that object or that thing. See some object in the room and then let us all connect Krishna to that object. So anyway, thank you, Prabhu, for that. I'm sorry if I didn't mean to embarrass you, but I just remembered it. Regarding this, okay, has the mind become soft, detached? No. But there is hope. I'll tell you, honestly, I'll tell you a classic example of today itself later, but I'll tell you what has happened. At least now, what has happened, I have recognized sometimes, that these 2 voices are different. Krishna calling is different than the mind's voice. You know what is the mind's voice? Mind's voice has 3 features: loud, fast, and attached. I'll repeat. Mind's voice is loud, fast, attached. So you are chanting, the mind says, check your WhatsApp. Now, right now. This is very important. Call up this person. That is mind. Loud, fast, and attached. Krishna's voice is exactly opposite. Soft, slow, and detached. So sometimes, I've completed 16 rounds. Somewhere I hear a soft voice which says, you are so happy chanting, chant more. Suddenly the mind, no, we have to do so many things. There are so many things to be done. And then, and what does Krishna do that time? Okay. Krishna is detached. Krishna is not going to say, no, Krishna is not going to fight with the mind. We have to choose Krishna. So, Krishna will be detached. Krishna said once, chant extra, but the mind gave so many plans. And he said, yes, my dear mind. So, at least that much awareness is there. Although I give it to the mind also, I'm just saying, see, I'm only sharing my success stories with you so that you also get hope. Because you're also suffering, right? I'm also suffering. So if I tell you my stories, what is the use of me sitting here and giving a class? So I have made mistakes. I have burnt myself. I have suffered. But we are all suffering, struggling. But let us help each other by sharing. So what I'll tell you today, for example, I was sitting in front of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. I completed my rounds. And after 12 rounds, there are 4 rounds left. So generally what happens after 12 rounds, my chanting used to become fast earlier. Because the mind, see, it's very fast. Mind is very fast. So It's like if I take 8.5 minutes or 8 minutes to chant one round, the last 4 rounds would be 7.5, because mind has ideas to do many things. So you finish your japa and do so many things. Because we are more not interested in these beats as much as we're interested in these beats. that is our tragic life. Now, because of journaling, I'll tell you what has happened. Because of awareness practices, what has happened. Like today, for example, after 12 rounds, generally I'm fast. But today, as I'm chanting in front of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, awareness. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. See, mind wandering is not a problem. But when we become aware that the mind is wandering, I'll repeat, when we become aware that the mind is wandering, what choices do you make? That determines whether we are sincere or not. Mind wandering does not make you insincere. So today I realized mind is wandering, running, do this. But when I remembered that, when I realized that, when I was aware of that, Krishna, this is the greatest wealth. I'm with you, but my mind has so many plans to do. But I will not get up till I feel loved. Hare Krishna. Chanting. So there is no hurry to finish. So 12th round also took me 8 minutes. I'm sharing one success story. So then after 16 rounds, generally say my japa should have been over by 11:30. Ideally. So 11:30, I didn't get the urge to get up. Generally, you want to finish and run away and do so many things. But at 11:30, because last 4 rounds, they kept coming back to this affirmation that Krishna, I want to complete my rounds, not finish my japa. I want to be with you. I want to be with you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then today, after 16 rounds, I could sit. And then I didn't chant all the time. I kept the beats. I was receiving the presence. I was just present. Then again chanted for a few minutes. And then the devotee who came to pick me up. Good. Otherwise, generally what would happen? Keep the beat bag, run around, do so many things. And then next day during japa period, you remember, where is my beat bag? You're so busy, you forgot. But one good thing that has happened is, because of practicing awareness, even if I'm not able to connect with Krishna all the time, at least I know that I have to come back to Krishna. I once asked Swarup Maharaj that, Maharaj, you are chanting for 50 plus years now. Japa, what are your realizations? He said a beautiful statement. He said, I don't know what are big realizations, but I know one thing. This is the ultimate shelter. So I don't know about today. Also in the car when I was coming from Charlotte, I was feeling sleepy in japa. Like I was struggling to stay awake. I was chanting a little extra, but I was like, I was okay. I was coming back again chanting. That silent reassurance that Krishna is there. It's exciting to chant in the initial days because we want thrill from chanting. Chanting is, but that is not chanting. There is a difference between, which is more fulfilling? Thrill of romance or joy of chastity? Our relationship with Krishna, when we are new devotees, we are looking for the thrill of romance, ecstatic kirtan nila, great class, great festivals, wow. That's thrill of romance. But joy of chastity is Krishna. I feel like chanting. But I want to prove that I'm sincere. I don't want to get up. I want to get up and run away, but I will not. Because I want to prove that I belong to you. Although I'm not here. That is joy of chastity. That is more fulfilling. Although it may appear that, one of the biggest mistakes we do is we think, if I'm not struggling, then I'm advancing. No, struggling is not the criteria. Not struggling is not the criteria of advancement. At our stage, we may be struggling, but that longing, if there is longing in that struggle, then we are advancing. So yes, I was struggling, staying away, struggling to stay awake, chanting, but Krishna, I'm going to chant a few extra rounds today because I want to prove that I'm sincere. Hare Krishna. So that was very fulfilling, although it was not. If somebody else sees that chanting, you would think you're sleeping in japa. What is this? Yeah, I'm not, but I was trying. I was coming back to Krishna. So I think that much reassurance I've got that I'm not. I make mistakes. I'm bad. All that is there, but I belong to Krishna.
Very powerful.
Sorry if I've spoken. I've punched above my weight. I'm very small person, struggling, but I think we need to.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
No, there's a difference between
Hare
Diwali,
Ram,
this,
Hare
July 4 fireworks.
Hare Krishna, Hare
You know,
Krishna.
I saw in Dallas, I was like
Hare
amazed.
Ram,
In India, we have the Diwali fireworks.
Hare
How
Krishna.
does that fireworks last? No, the one firework,
Hare
the
Krishna.
whole program lasts half an hour. All those fireworks, flashy. But you go to this traditional Indian temples, there is a lamp.
Krishna.
You know, Srirangam, Puri, that is burning for centuries. So in the heart, we want to light that lamp and offer to Krishna. Sometimes it will flicker, sometimes it will illuminate, but we want to protect that lamp and keep it on for years after years. We don't want the Bhakti to be like the Diwali fireworks. We want it to be going on and on and on. So let us light a lamp every night before sleeping. Figuratively, at least, Krishna, I'm offering this to you. I belong to you. I come back to you today. We can do that. That is joy of chastity. So I think as we get older, we realize that I'm not as advanced as I thought I would be when I'm 50. But I'm happy where I am. Tattenu kampam susamikshamanu. Krishna, I accept I'm fallible, I'm ordinary, but I'm yours. We need to offer, we need to offer the best things to Krishna, right? When you cook, anybody offers ulta sida prasad, you offer very good prasad. You also are very pakka about the dressing that you put on top. Everything is perfectly made for Krishna. So we make a mistake that when in my inner world also I have to be pure devotee, I have to be perfect before I offer to Krishna. No. I may have a wilted flower to offer Krishna, but Krishna, this is what I have now. What to do? Please accept it, and Krishna will accept it.
Hare Krishna.
Or we need to know that inner world dynamics is different. We want to become pure, but nothing is stopping us from offering ourselves to Krishna now. I was in Sri Lanka in a yatra. We went to Hanuman temple, which was on the top of a mountain, and we had to go through 8 or 9 circles in the mountain. So at the first round, one young Sri Lankan boy standing with so many bags of flowers was waving at us to stop the bus, and the bus bus avoided him, and we went ahead. And then the next round up, we were shocked that boy was again there. Same boy, and we ignored him because we were getting late for the temple darshan. And again the next turn, 5 times, and he was sweating because he was going through the shortcut. He knew how to climb the mountain. And at the
Hare
5th
Krishna.
turn, everybody in the bus unanimously shouted, "Stop!" And the bus stopped, the driver stopped, and the boy was called inside the bus. He was panting, sweating, and he had 4 or 5 bags, and all the flowers were wilted. They were rotten flowers. But everybody in the bus, all Indian passengers, devotees, we purchased all the flowers. Some of them paid 500 rupees for that one flower. That boy's enthusiasm just melted the hearts of everybody in the bus. And I was looking at all these grastas, wilted flowers, Prabhus. And that boy's bag was empty but filled with notes. He was so happy, and then he went. I was like, wow, if we stone-hearted people, our hearts can melt by somebody sincerely, enthusiastically offering wilted flowers.
Hare Krishna.
Imagine we come in front of Krishna with sincerity, although what we have to offer is nothing great. But don't you think Krishna is the softest? He has the softest heart. So what is stopping us from turning to Krishna now and saying, Krishna, I belong to you? Okay, this is dark for me, I'm suffering, but I'm yours. This moment, I'm here and I'm yours. Sorry, Prabhu, I went on and on and on.
Very well.
Thank you. It's 8:30. We'll stop now. Prabhu is saying one more question, one last comment.
If anyone else?
Yes, Mataji, we'll take Mataji's question.
But
I want to say thank you, Prabhu, because last year you came and you spoke about journaling. So I started.
Hare Krishna. Hare
I was just doing one
Hare
day,
Ram.
but thank you again for giving the next one. That how did Krishna appear today? So you're just giving me hope
Hare
for the
Krishna.
next one more year. So I really hope to see you next year too.
I didn't tell one thing. Now that you're saying this, okay, let me honestly confess. Last year was the first time I came to life, right? I went back. Now I was telling this to Ramchandra Kaviraj Prabhu in the car. With all my sincerity, without a tinge of exaggeration or flattery, there are different places. I visited around 25 to 30 cities in America. This year I've also been for 2 months. I'm being very honest. There are some places which are my favorites. Like, I go to Seattle for the children. I go to different places for different reasons. I go to Denver for a different reason. There are 5 different places. But as a teacher, as a kathakar, there is no place like this place. Because the energy here, as soon as you enter, the devotees here, they look at you like Chataka birds. That energy is unbelievable. The only other place I've experienced this is the festival lectures in Vraja Bihari Mandir where I stay. That eagerness to hear, and it's surreal for me. I'm like, I feel humbled and also very happy to come here.
Roji, please move.
Thank you, Narendra Prabhu. Your love will fill me. I just wrote an email to my Guru Maharaj and I got a reply. I know what he has given me few things to do. But I want to really, really thank you. Such a wonderful devotee audience here who are always encouraging the speaker. I feel very humbled here, but I don't know what all I'll end up speaking. Even last year, I still remember what I spoke. I spoke description of Kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, prayers, and all of that. So many things came up. But yeah, thank you so much for being wonderful devotees. Hare Krishna. Yeah, let's stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Haribo.